Good morning, everybody. I was sitting here after I got done sewing my little cell phone cover. The quilt block is many of you know, I did an entire California king made out of blocks that have a name called awkward granny square. I got the entire California king quilt put together. It was quilted, pancake, everything together, and as I was putting on the binding, I realized that some of my blocks, like I did them each block, and then some of the blocks were, instead of the back being on the back was on the front. My blocks were turned backwards. The whole entire quilt was like that. So on the front of the quilt, this is what you've seen. And it was supposed to look like this. And it wasn't like it was on an end block. It was throughout the quilt. So I took that entire quilt apart. Took out. And it was like, I'm like, are you serious? And I almost left it. Like I said in a previous video. Then I was going to put it back together. And I was just going to do something with it. Then this morning I was sitting here and I had made some, I don't know what they're really called. They're just, let me show you one of them. My cup sits on it. It's just a little round. I made it round and from a block, but I wanted it round. And my cup sits on it. It's not the cup's large, but it holds 2-day supply and it keeps it cold. I have like reusable ice. It comes in a little, I don't know, it's a little plastic thing. When you freeze them, it'll stay cold in that cup for 2 days, and I usually have water in that cup. Excuse me. But these are nice because you can wash them. Sorry about that. But then I was sitting there going, because that awkward granny square quilt created so much issues, I didn't want to do anything with it again. Then I was sitting here looking at the cup going, I have the perfect perfect idea for what I can do, at least with some of those blocks. And again, they were all different. I didn't bring them all down, they're all stuck up there. But here's one of the other blocks. And then this is one of the other ones. I mean, it's a really, really beautiful quilt, but because I had to take it apart, it created a I don't know, I don't want to do it. And it's like, I knew sooner or later that I would find something for them. And because see, they were all quilted. The back was on there. This is a, I don't know what it is. It's purplish, and that's the way I wanted it quilted. So it looked just like that on the front. I wanted the front to look more like it had been hand sewed. And so I was sitting here going, I have the perfect idea for those quilt blocks. Makes a coaster, a really cool looking coaster. And so what I did was took this block, found out where on the other block, which it's similar to this one, but let me get one that's not similar. Like this, found out where I wanted the center, and if you look at this block, oh, and I can't see in the camera. If you look across this block, this right here is the center. It goes down to this other yellow one, and it's the wrong way, this yellow one, and then the other center on this side will be yellow, yellow, and yellow. Then what I did just kind of folded it so I had a crease. And I want to push down on my keyboard. I found out what would be the center. And I knew I wanted this before it was sewn. I knew I wanted it 6 1/4. I thought 6 1/4 would be sufficient. I think I'm going to probably go 6 1/2. And the only other thing, if you make these, make your seam a little bit bigger than 1/4 inch, because what that happens is when you go to fold it in, because this is fairly thick, because it's got a double backing. I didn't just use this backing. I found another piece of fabric that I thought, well, it's different, and I put this backing on it because I liked it. Because guess what? You now have two coasters. You have this way, and then you have this way, and they're both instead of, yes, I could have just put a plain color or put one of the matching colors that was on the front, and I thought, no, I want it different. And I was going to quilt on this, but then if I'd have done that, it would have changed the look of the front, and I did not want that happening. But that idea, or you could actually and then some of these I'm going to sew them back together, and then I'm going to sew around them similar to the way I did this, exactly like I did this, and sew them together. I'm going to put a second backing on them, and then, well, when you cut your this to 6 1/4, 6 1/2, you're going to go right sides together with whatever backing you choose, and you're going to sew. And again, I highly recommend sewing more than just a 1/4 inch seam. And the reason I say that is because you could do it that way as long as it's not thick. But I was not going to take this apart any further. And it's thick because it's got the front, which is thick anyway. It's got the back, and then inside here, what I sandwiched it with was fleece. If I can get it apart so I can show you. It's sandwiched at, I used batting, fleece is batting, and which is the same color as that right there. It's what I had, and it was probably, I just use fleece a lot, mostly because I like it, because it is soft, super pliable, but it is a little thicker than most batting. So if you're going to use like the fleece throw blankets as batting, you just need to be aware they are thicker than normal batting, so it kind of makes it kind of stiff. But you just put that on there. You're going to sew it all the way around. Remember, right sides together. You could use a plain color, whatever, right sides together. Of course, this doesn't really fit because it's already sewed. Then you're going to sew again. Use a bigger than 1/4 inch. I would recommend using 1/2 inch seam, and you're going to sew, turn, sew. Make sure you turn on your corners. Sew your corners. Then you need to leave, like, I don't know, a gap, maybe that, I don't know, maybe 2 1/2, 3 inch gap, because you got to pull it inside out. But the reason I say is on your corners, go all the way around, because you cut the corners at an angle. Like, instead of when you come across the corner, you don't want to cut, cut a piece off. Oh, let go. Okay, so we'll come to a corner. I'm going to fold this piece in half. This is what I cut off. Example, you got your corner. Okay, just remember, do not cut through your sew lines. It'll come apart. Most of the time, instead of, you just cut kind of at an angle, I would highly recommend taking a little longer, and so it's going to look similar to this. Just remember, don't cut your sew lines, and I'll hold it up here so you can see what I'm doing, as long as I can hold it in the air. And you're just going to take a little bit longer. See, instead of going straight across, you just take a little bit at an angle, and what that does is it makes it easier for that turn to take place, because this is really thick. It is durable, it's thick. I got a string hanging down, a couple strings hanging down. No, I never made one of these before. Well, I made my little round ones, but I never thought about making square ones, and I certainly didn't think about making coasters out of these blocks. But I'm going to make coasters, and I'm going to make some placemats, because I think it would be different. They all go together. They go together, but they're different colors. So you could make, 6 placemats, 4 placemats. These also, and I had to do them, and the reason they're this size, I wanted to see if they would fit in a card, because I do the quilted cards. I wanted to see how small I could go so they could be usable, and slide them in an envelope. These will slide in an envelope, so without causing too much issues. So you send somebody the quilted cards, we'll send them this instead. And on the back, if you wanted to, you could put a little saying, or because that's what's going to happen to this one. I'm going to put something on the back of it. I'm going to applique it on there. Then it's, or I might do, because if you applique it on there, they might not want to put a coffee cup or soda cup or whatever, but I am going to applique on the back. It may just be an additional design on the back. I'm not sure. And then I may just leave it alone because of what it looks like. I love that fabric, and I wish I could get it in a full piece, but it came, I believe this one came as a yard, just a yard fabric. I'm not sure what they technically call it, but it was just a yard of fabric that I got at the local Walmart, and I thought I wasn't sure about it when I got it, because of course when it's rolled up like that, you can't really see what it is, and I brought it home and I'm like, oh wow. So I was doing some other stuff with them, and making some half square triangles out of them because I think it looks cool, and then I got to looking at it, and I think I'm going to get it. I have some more of it, and I'm going to do some fussy cut stuff, and I'm going to turn it into patches, and put it on a shirt, because I think it would look cool as little fussy cut applique patches, simply because it's different. And I guess that's what most of my stuff that I crochet, crochet. Yes, I do crochet, I do knit. It's part of crafts. I don't think there's any type of craft I can think of that I haven't done. I don't particularly care for tatting, which you go in and out of the little thing. I do embroidery. I have a massive amount of embroidery thread that I use, except I don't, when I embroider something, and I was trying to find something that I had done, but usually when I embroider something, it is for a specific purpose. It's not something I keep. I never have. But I buy the material and I draw on it. whatever I'm doing, I draw on it and put it in an embroider hoop and sew. I don't use a sewing machine for it. I have no desire to use an embroidery machine because it's like, I don't know, I just, and it's great for those that have them because you do amazing work with the embroidery machine. But to me, it takes away from that, I guess you call it personal touch. I mean, so does the sewing machine itself. There's so much pleasure I always get when I hand sew a quilt because you've done every single thing by hand. But unfortunately, arthritis gets to me, and sometimes I even have trouble sewing, so I don't. And so sometimes I'm doing this with my hands, and because they get to hurting. And like I've been sewing, and now I have to back off for a little bit, because what happens is my hands start throbbing, and then they lock up, or sometimes they just go. Especially, I'm not right-handed or left-hand. I'm ambidextrous, so my left hand or my right hand will go numb, and it's like, that's okay, I have my other hand. But it just goes numb, and hair in my mouth. I hate when that happens. It's hair in your mouth when you're talking. But I just thought I would show you that, real something simple. And you could do the same thing with, you can make it out of a turn pack. Take two little 5-inch pieces, even, let me get this little guy. Little 5-inch piece, or this piece is actually 6 1/4. But you can take a 5-inch piece and put a batting in it. Doesn't have to be real fancy. Put a piece of batting, or put an extra piece of material in it, or some, just whatever, and put another piece of fabric on top of it. Sew around, make sure again you leave a hole so that you can turn it. And unlike this big thick stuff over here, you can make your hole so it's not so big, and you just turn it. Just make sure you before you turn it, just clip your corners, otherwise it doesn't come out. And then just use something to push the corners out. Like I said, I just use this little wooden, it's like a wooden stick. I thought it was from nails, but it's like, I don't use anything like that. It may have been something, oh, you know what this is? These were chopsticks. And I remember, now I just haven't looked, it's because there's a knife, or there's knife blades on it, and I'm like, oh, I remember what this was. And it made a good turning thing. I've also used pliers, or not pliers, but I have a little screwdriver, little tiny one, that I've also used because it's real dull. There's no points. I mean, if you get real pushy with it, it's going to poke right through. But that's what I use this one for. I mean, it's a little tiny screwdriver. As you can see, I mean, my fingers, I have tiny hands, so you could see that it's just tiny. It's just a tiny screwdriver. But I keep it there. And what I did in here is I have the empty spools, and I just, a spool has those little holes, and I just stick stuff in them so it doesn't go anywhere. It makes it perfect, and I'm like, I'm using my spools, and that's what's here. It's just, and here's another tiny screwdriver. This one's about half the size of the other one, but that's what I use it for. This end right here, it's been done off to where it's real smooth, and sometimes when I'm too lazy, I don't feel like pushing it with my fingers, this works to push out seams. It just, you'd be amazed at the things you find around your house that work just the same, or sometimes I don't feel like turning the iron on. So like I said, I do have clappers. They're over there in the corner back behind, and I need to get them out of there. Clappers work good, or a couple of them. I know Katie uses one. I can't remember if Sean does or not. Katie from Greenland Quilters, and Sean is from, and excuse me, Sean, if this is not right, I believe his channel is The Guy That Sews or something like that. You'll have to forgive me. But she's got a, it looks like a little roller, just a little roller. And those are cool too if you have them. If you don't, you know, you just kind of do what you do, and it's, you know, I know there's a lot of people getting just into quilting. It's not necessary you have all that expensive stuff, or I mean, some of them, you got to remember, they've been quilting for a long time, so they've accumulated it. But you can always make other things that work for other things. Like my ruler, it's a million years old. It's most of the numbers are gone. Most of the numbers are gone, and the reason it's like this right here is because, well, some of it's coming off, but I didn't want it sliding. So what this is medical tape. 3M medical tape. That's all that is. Comes on a roll, and you stick it onto the back, and it keeps the ruler from sliding. And as you can see it. It's clear. I don't like the yellow, or I have a 8.5 inch one and this 4.5 inch one also. I put medical tape on it. I don't like these rulers. I can't see that. I think they needed to have left that orange off. I understand that orange is to tell people where the 1/2 inch and such is, but to me it bugs me. I'd rather have them just left it alone. And this ruler here is meant to symbolize, I don't know, what is this ruler? Oh, it's, the whole thing is 4.5 inches all the way to the outside. And I don't know why it's supposed to be to symbolize this is your sewing is inside where the orange is. Me, I don't do that. It's a 4.5 inch. It's a 4.5 inch square. It's rare I use it. There's a mark on here for, I don't even know what that was, but it was 2. But again, I did the same thing. I put that medical tape to keep it from sliding, and then I have one that's almost identical to that, but it's 8.5 inch, and it's up there, and I don't want to get up there and get it. But I just keep it up there. Sometimes I hang it on the wall. And then my cat discovered, oh, if I bang that, so he was banging the ruler on the wall. So I took it back down. I was afraid, because they are made out of plastic or whatever. What I was afraid of is it falling down and conking him on the head with the corner, because they are quite sharp. So I just took it down, and now I just have my metal. It's super flat, and I use it rarely. I'll use it for when I'm doing paper piecing, because it's super flat, but it's a metal ruler, and it's flat, almost completely flat, but it makes great for holding those pieces up when I paper piece. So hopefully everybody's having a great day, and thanks everybody for watching, and I'd appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up. I'm not sure why they have the thumbs up. I think it should be something else, but anyway, and subscribe if you'd like, and I will see everybody out there in the channels. Thank you, and bye-bye.